Welcome back to the channel. All right, now we've gone over all of the champions, right? The top 10s of every single class. It really turned into be about the top 15 with honorable mentions, the top 30 champions of the whole game. And then I know July 4th is approaching. I know that, so it was a time to update all of these various tier lists, the advice of like best to awaken, best to ascend, and best 7 stars to rank up. July 4th, it brings a lot of materials to the game, hopefully for free to play, hopefully for spenders, and we all come out of it on the other side and have a lot of fun. So this spreadsheet will be linked in the description. If you want to download it, go through it, right? It's highly configurable. This is the one we use for the monthly tier list. You can see we're going to be on our 42nd edition when it comes to July. Thank you, Spreadsheet Wizards. Like, you continue to just absolutely blow me away with what you are able to do with this thing. All right, this video today is going to be the best 7-star champions to rank up. We've removed, you can see that right there with the purple, right? We've removed all the 6 stars from this list. They're not cluttering up. Going to talk about like 2 to 4 champions in each class, just so you can get an idea from it as you go ahead and use this as a springboard, right? This is rank up advice. We have the Mystic class. I want to talk briefly about America Chavez and Kushala, mainly because I have by far the most experience with those 2 champions out of the Mystic class, right? I have them both at rank 3. America Chavez has been a favorite of mine for forever. And Kushala, I literally did get to be, I got to help with the design process, okay? America Chavez, I took her to rank 3 unawakened, and like, it didn't matter. She was that good. The awakened ability would be nice, and then you get more SIGs, and it'll help her even more. Kushala, I use mine unawakened. Outside of some tier 1 war matchups, I have not missed it at all. I know some people feel strongly that they want it and they won't use her until they have it. And maybe once I get her awakened, I'll be like, okay, this is more important than I realized. But I have to tell you, I mean, I've finished seasons in Celestial. I finished almost every Battleground season in Mysterium. Yeah, I have a large roster. It's very helpful. But what I'm telling you is Kushala was one of my rank 3s and I've never had her awaken. And she is dominating fights for me. Moving along, I want to briefly talk about Longshot. If you were lucky enough to get him in the Omega days, he's paying off dividends for you. We're seeing the returns come in. We're seeing the videos. We're seeing him being used in questing. We're seeing him being used in Battlegrounds. I think he makes a ton of sense, right? And then we'll quickly talk about the Destroyer. I will have a Destroyer video coming out. It will probably come out live before this video does. You're going to know that I'm a big fan, and you're also going to know that I completely understand why some very smart players are like, I just want a little bit more. Like, I hope he gets a tune-up. But I also think he's so strong where he's strong. I don't know how they would tune him up without just making him overpowered, broken elsewhere in the game. I think he's one of those ones, and this is my advice on him, and hopefully you watch that video as well too, and this comes through well, is I think if you like him and he's helping your account, because he definitely can help almost any account, I think take him up. I think he's great. Moving on to Mutant. If you're lucky enough to have Onslaught, I think he's just so clearly the next step in evolution, even honestly over Negasonic Teenage Warhead, for the relationship between the mutant and the skill class, that I think he makes a ton of sense to take up. I got so incredibly lucky in Titan Crystals that I pulled him like 2 out of 3 crystals in a row or something outrageous. I have a rank 5 6-star Ascended Onslaught, and I will still be looking to take my Onslaught to rank 3, even at SIG 20, as soon as I possibly can. Now, I really like a lot of the mutants that are available 7 stars, so I might wait a little while, especially because I have the Ascended one, but he's just that good. There's a reason why he is alone in that tier, right? As you look at this visually here. Now, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, going to talk about her too, because I do know people went out and got her. I do believe she's going to be going into the Titan Crystal that will have been available around the time this video comes out. I think as the 7-star, I don't think you really need her awakened while you're punching down for a while. Even if she's not awakened, I think she can make a lot of sense. Definitely take to rank 2 and absolutely to rank 3, because that'll help you with the quote-unquote punching down when you're fighting other champions. Omega Red, if you've got him at a high enough SIG, makes a ton of absolute sense. And then we'll touch on Nightcrawler very quickly. I did put out the video talking about his signature ability and how powerful that is. I was kind of trying to convince people to go for the 6-star instead of spending a lot of money to get the 7-star, but I get it. You're having fun in the game. You want to go for it, fit into your budget. I'm glad you had a lot of fun. I think if you've done that, ranking him up as a 7-star will really help you offset the lack of having him at a high SIG. And so he makes a ton of sense to me to rank up. Moving on to science, I want to briefly talk on Titanium and Photon, even though they are both in the highest category, right? Most people are like, Thanks, Vega. We really needed you to tell us to rank up our tiny Titania and our Photon. Well, the reason why I want to bring that up is because I believe when I ranked up my Titania to rank 2, I don't even know if she was awakened or she was at like Sig 20. I now have her at Sig 80. You're going to see that in the Crystal Cornucopia. I've gotten really lucky pulling her a few times recently. And then Photon, I believe, was unawakened or at Sig 20. Yes, defensively, her Sig really helps if you're pushing Battlegrounds. If you're not looking to hit Celestial, rank up your 7-star. Like, I'm telling you, don't get hung up on that stuff, right? Like, I've got mine at Sig 20. She's been fantastic for me. She still causes problems on defense. And then I turn around and use her on offense, and she has been amazing, 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 amazing. Go ahead and talk about Spider-Ham. I don't even think you need him awakened. He's fantastic. Luke Cage. I'm going to continue talking about Luke Cage until I can tell the community has gotten it. I get it that he's an old champion. Trust me, I get it. It's like when I pulled Havoc from the Titans, I was a little initially disappointed because you're like, I want new, I want exciting, right? And that's not Luke Cage. But I'm telling you, once you play him, you're probably going to find him really exciting. Click the playlist. It's linked in that description there on the spreadsheet. You're going to take you to a video done by none other than Jaeger. And I think it's going to make you feel a lot better about that pool. If I pull him from a Titan Crystal soon, you're going to see me be very not disappointed. Moving on, let's get to Captain America Infinity War. Now, if hopefully you catch my Best to Ascend video and you can see the emoji right there. You can hear what I was saying is like, if you're using him for that utility, for that super high sig utility, ascend your 6-star, period. Also, if you're not using him for that utility, if you love the champion because he is so good and you don't need him awakened or you don't need him at the super high sig, I really think it's only skill that I can see a lot of scenarios where you're like, I need him at sig 200, right? Rank up your 7-star. He's fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. And then I want to give a quick shout out to Invisible Woman, and more importantly, to Allison Edits. I think it's really important and everyone keeps in mind when you watch those videos that this is a creator who is putting in a ton of time, work, and effort and having an absolute blast and then sharing that with you. I think instead of going and saying like, Invisible Woman's not good, I think you just say like, wow, Invisible Woman's good, but also you, Allison, are very impressive. Thank you for sharing with us because it's not only fun, but it's entertaining and we're getting to learn a little bit too. So if you like Invisible Woman and you think you want to like try to pull off that stuff, go for it. It's a game. It should be fun. Shuri's all alone, baby. Like I know, and I will address this quickly because I've put out the top 10 and you know, again, people were really respectful. I've got a great audience. You all are, I love you guys. And people were like, hey, listen, you know, she doesn't feel like she fits the skill kind of like archetype. And a couple of people, and I've seen this in other places, like, yeah, but if the opponent is shock immune, then like she can't do damage. And you're correct in both of those analyses. Absolutely correct. I am in no way going to try to like tell you those are wrong. Because I actually think they're both true. Like they're like literally facts, essentially. You're telling me 2 + 2 = 4. And I'm like, I agree. What I'm saying is, in this case, she almost feels classless, and I see that as a massive advantage. Like, not that that's something you should be shooting for or striving for, but it allows her to go outside of her class wheel so much. Like, I'm aware there's mutants you don't want to energy damage. I get that. And if that's how you want to play the game, more power to you, and that's great. And I bet you can build a great roster to tackle the problems Kabam throws at us through defenders and nodes. That's fantastic. That's part of the strategy of this game. If you're not dead set on that, though, you can find that Shuri will take a multitude, let's just go with that word. I think you know what I'm trying to say, of defenders and nodes for you. She goes outside of it. It's like why she's so good for Atuma and also Domino. Like, that's an unusual mix, right? It's why she's so good in the long form. But also is a decent defender and a over decent, a quite good battlegrounds attacker so frequently. And then you get her awakened, and now you're blocking unblockable attacks. She is fantastic. She's great. Shocker's the one that, like, if this was just purely me, if this was my tier list alone, if it wasn't, you know, all the great knowledge and experience of the Illuminati coming in on this too, I'd have Shocker in the tier above all. Some of that, though, is my own biases of having so much fun playing him. And also, I have him at Sig 88 as a 7-star. I've done that video. I've showed it to you. We'll go over that when we talk about best champions to Sig up and awaken, because that will also be coming out. Keep an eye out for it. but he's great. He's fantastic. Prowler, I will be getting out that Prowler video. In the meantime, if you haven't seen it, make sure you see Bitter Steels and Pepe's. I think it'll really open your eyes a little bit. Then I'll briefly talk about Omega Sentinel, because she feels like a bit of a hot button one for me in the community. You know, I think your high tier Battlegrounds players, you're like, again, they're pushing Celestial. Keep in mind, that's like 200 players in a game that like a lot more than 200 players are playing. She's often not fast enough, or they're so good and so skilled that their game knowledge and their skill makes it so that she's not a tough defender. I have her at rank 2. I absolutely love her. I do great things in content with her. Sometimes she comes into Battlegrounds, and yeah, when I hit the Celestial tiers, she often gets kicked back down, and they're like, you belong in Mysterium. And I'm like, there's not many things in the world where I am in the top 1,000 of literally anything. And so I'm very okay with that. I think she's great to rank up. Check out my videos on her. She's phenomenal, guys. She really, really is. And then the last one we'll talk about is, we'll talk about Penny Parker very quickly. I think she's doing the Undertaker routine. If you're like Undertaker, it's not, when my day it was WWF. I believe it's now called WWE, right? He's a really, really cool character from that. You know, Penny came on and she destroyed everyone. Then we got Hulkling, and then we got Gallant, and then even Gore was like, I can do it too. And they're like, okay. And we just destroyed Penny. But the game has grown. The game has grown. More attackers have come out, more defenders come out, more nodes have come out. Battlegrounds decks have stayed the same size. So you needed to start making decisions on, do I bring these champions? Who do I draft? And lo and behold, people are starting to draft Penny. They're starting to rank her up as a 7-star, and they're doing good things on defense. And if you ever awakened, right? And we've shown this before. She's great for Nick Fury, one of the toughest dual threat champions in the game. And she's also just kind of great. She has dual immunities. She's a fantastic champion. If you get Penny, like, I can tell I'm talking about her. Like, I'm excited. If I pull Penny, I will be happy. I'll be excited. I'll want her awakened, but then I'll be excited. And then last one we'll talk about in tech. If you've got 7-star Ultron, like, you've got, I think, the most rare 7-star in the game. Let me know if you think I'm wrong on that one, but I just can't imagine a more rare 7-star being available. On the day of recording, I put out, in my opinion, Crossbones is the best 7-star champion available as a 7-star. Yeah, there we go. That would make sense. Fantastic. Oh, please go watch that video. And I'm debunking the myth that he needs high sig to take fights that are placing debuffs. I'm sure there's a fight out there where without high sig, he can't do it. You can always find the exceptions to the rule, but the rule stays the same. And the rule clearly is, at Sig 40, Crossbone is doing work in hazard shift fights against champions that aren't heroes. And no, I did not have a special synergy expanding any of that or making him stronger. It was not boosted either. You got to check it out. Now, in that conversation, though, for the best is definitely Chill, Mantis, Masakre, especially if you're a Battlegrounds player, Mole Man, and Bullseye. And I understand people love Black Cat. I can't personally put her in there as a general rank up advice for the whole game. But if you're playing Battlegrounds, or if you love Black Cat and you can get the most out of her, I totally get it. Even Shang-Chi and Elsa, I get it. Trust me. But to me, there's just a little bit about his kit. I can't go through the whole explanation now, but myself and a lot of other people on my Discord server, there's too many to name because there's so many, really had a great discussion on like why his kit comes together so well, where in my opinion, not everyone agrees with me, he is just like a slight amount above them and in a higher tier. I don't think he's as blunt force powerful and as OP as Kingpin, Kate Bishop, and Nick Fury. But I do think it's worth representing him there. And I know we spent all of the skill time talking about him, but I really want to get that through to people. If you're watching this and if you haven't seen my video on that and you've got like a low sig Crossbones, go check that out. I hope it gives you at least an idea or a thought that, hey, you've got a great option to potentially rank up on your roster already. Final Class and Cosmic, literally all the broken OP Cosmic champions are not available as 7-stars. They just aren't, right? Hulkling, Hercules, and CGR. I hope one day we get Hulkling. I do, and I think there's a chance we will, but That's not for me to decide. So let's talk about what we've got here. Serpent, Daddy Longlegs designed him. You know he's good. You know he's good. Not great offensively in Battlegrounds. Oh no, he's only amazing everywhere else. Very, very relevant champion. Relatively not easy to play, but very, very fluid champion. Great loop, going to help you get things done. And then if you do enjoy Battlegrounds and you've got him awakened, throw him on defense and tell your opponents, I'm very, very sorry for giving you that advice. Adam Warlock, so many great players are showing us now. Bitter Steel is really the big one, though, that's just been like putting forth the video, the whole thing, and showing us like the guy can go outside of his class wheel, does not need to be awakened. And I want to point that out if you've got an Adam Warlock. Make sure you enjoy his playstyle. Make sure you enjoy it. But he does not need to be awakened to do so many phenomenal things. Click the playlist if you're unsure on that or you want a little extra confirmation. Null, fantastic. I would want my Null awakened, though. I would. But fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Deathless King Groot. I have seen comments from the community where people are saying, like, see, the Onslaught fight proves that Deathless King Groot is not good. And I understand why that's being said. But what I want to confirm is I think people didn't understand the fight. That fight, you do not want to incinerate Onslaught because he's just going to, I don't recall what his mechanism is called, but he's just basically going to power up and go insane and kill you. So as a result, one of Deathless King Groot's most important sources of damage is this SP2 Incinerate, right? You get the armor up, armor breaks, and then you do the Incinerate. He was not able to do that. That's why it took so long. It really made me want to go back and be like, I need to start streaming these fights because I can understand why a lot of the community comes away with what's essentially the incorrect conclusion. And it's just due to a simple misunderstanding on the fight's mechanics. King Groot is fantastic. I actually have mine at rank 2, and I was very excited about awakening him. And then we will quickly talk about, let's go with Angela and Odin. If you have Angela, what I want to comment on is make sure you see her and have her at the right SIG level for you to feel good about it, right? Because I think she's available in either the incursions or the loyalty crystal, meaning chances are you don't have her at a high SIG. Her SIG is really important to her. And often the synergy, right, and the pre-fights with Odin are really important to her too. If you've got that all under control, I think go with her. But if you're enjoying playing your 6-star and still getting great results and having her at super high SIG as a big part of that, I would really encourage you to consider maybe sticking with your 6-star and using your rank up materials, at least for the time being, until you can get a higher SIG on Angela, on some other champions, right? Like Cersei or Gore or Odin or something like that. That was it. The best champions to rank up as 7 stars. Feel really good about this one. I think we're in a good place in the game. Like I said, I know a lot of resources are about to come into our accounts. I hope you're able to take advantage of it in a way that is fun and also makes sense for your budget. Remember, all of these things will come over playing the game. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think we got right. Let me know what you think we got wrong. Take care.